Yeah.
24/7 from your holy channel, Shalom FM Cape Town.
Proclaim His greatness. Praise the Lord with Queen T on Shalom FM Cape Town.
The children of Israel. Now, they wanted a king because everyone else had a king. But what they didn't recognize is that they had the king of kings. And God stopped me in my tracks one day while I was praying, and He said, Travis, quit searching for what you already have. You have the Father of fathers. I don't know who you are tonight, but you've been searching for your identity, and God says that you find it all in Him. He said, listen, homie, I've never missed a ball game. He said, daughter, I was there at your graduation. I feel a wind of restoration just blowing through, and God is giving you back your identity. What you've been searching for, what someone stole from you, God said, no, you belong to me, daughter. You belong to me, man of God. Come on. I am your identity. You can have my last name. Everything that you've been wanting, you can find in me. I am your Father. Lift your hands in this moment.
Welcome to our book review show on Shalom FM. You are with Queen T, and today we have a special guest who is the son of the house, a son to our Bishop Joshua Simeon, and his name is Brian Robert Cougar. Oh yes, this young man is just 30 years of age, and he's very loaded with wisdom, loaded with a lot. You know, we know him from many social media platforms. He's a transformational speaker. He motivates, he inspires the youth, he inspires people out there through his short videos that he uploads timelessly on social media platforms. But today we are here to speak about his book. This young man is also an entrepreneur. And not only that, this young man has a 9-to-5 job. You see, when you are a young person, you need to do these things, before that, all the other things in life comes. So today we're talking about his book, his new release, his first book, I believe.
Yes.
That is the first book that he has written. And we are expecting more, of course, because he's just oozing with wisdom. And now I need you to introduce yourself to the listeners out there, to our viewers also, and just tell us who is Sir Brian and why Sir Brian.
Thank you, Quinty. It's an honor to be invited to your show.
Yes.
And it's an honor to be a part of Shalom FM. I'd like to say thank you to our bishop and our father and the entire team for being visionary to bring up a radio station. About myself, you've done the bits and part of the introduction. I'm basically a young man, 30 years. I'm from Zimbabwe, moved to Cape Town in 2018. Working in a call center, like you said, 9 to 5. Recently written a book, and I've always wanted to be a speaker, so I basically do motivational speeches and all that to try and inspire, to help others transform their lives. And I've recently written my book, but mainly I am a child of God who's just looking forward to using the gifts and talents that God has given me.
Oh yes. With that nice introduction, let us introduce the book. The book is titled Life. When you just see the book, you can see it inspires you already. And when you see the title, it's just, it's so inviting. You want to know, what is this life about? I mean, what is this young man talking about? Now tell us why that title and how did it come about?
So when I was writing the book, I wanted to write a memo. So a memo is basically a personal account of your life story, either written by yourself or by someone else. But usually memos are written when someone has passed away. So I decided to say, you know what, I need to write my own story based on my own self and experiences. And I had issues coming up with a name. I thought from, trying and failing, suffering and going through a lot, maybe I should call the name from ashes to hero, but I couldn't really find a name. And I asked the love of my life, she's back home now, and I asked her to assist me with the name. And she asked me, what are you writing about? And I told her, it's basically about my life. And she said she knows my life because I'm an open book. I always share my life because I believe it helps someone else not have to go through or make the same mistake. So when I said about my life, she said life. But the reason why she said that is she took a moment and went through everything I've told her about my life, and she was just in shock because she knows the ups and downs and the stresses and all that. So she just said life, as in it's a shock to say, okay, yeah, I am about to write a book, but so I told her that's the perfect title.
Wow. We've heard it, ladies. He has the love of his life, and this book will always remind him of that love of your life, because this title, it was downloaded from heaven. I mean, who else could give you a perfect title for the book like that? Now, moving to the book, the whole book is about your life.
So, yes,
and you highlight a lot of ups and downs in your book, but here you are. What do you want to communicate to the person that is reading the book? What is it exactly that you want a person to take home? What is it that a person you want to think about when they are holding your book, reading chapter to chapter? We're going to still do a book review.
Yes.
I will read it many times so that when we talk about it now into details, today we're just introducing it and we want to know about you and the book. And then when we review the book, then we will go into details. But now, when a person thinks and says now after this show that I want to go and get this book, what is it? What are you expecting, or what do you expect, or what do you think the person would take out of that book?
Okay. So life, most of us, we sometimes forget that life is a gift. That's point number one. You do not choose to be born in a particular place. You do not choose the family you are. You do not choose the circumstances or situations surrounding you. So already we have to celebrate life, as in it's just amazing to be alive at this time. I don't know what you're going through, but you are alive. So as long as you are alive, it's not yet over. It means there's still hope for you, because only those who are dead and buried are the ones that have no more future at all. But so point number one, if you are alive and still able to get this book, then there's hope for you. So the book tells about how I went up and down, as in sometimes you go forward and you take 3 steps back, sometimes you fall, sometimes your dreams are shattered, sometimes you're disappointed, heartbroken and all that, but you still going, keep going. So life, as in there are moments that will surprise you. It's part of the package called life. Sometimes you don't expect a miracle and things just happen and you're like, life, and then sometimes life beats you, like everything goes bad that seems to be going wrong, and you're like, life, but still you're still alive, so you can live to still fight another day and to enjoy. Joy still comes in the morning. Doesn't matter whether you're in the dark now, but you can still turn the light on and still keep going.
Okay. Just to bring it home, we are in Shalom FM, and our slogan here is there is always a way out in Christ. Now, if we look at your book and about your life story, and you what you have written about, some of the highlights that you've penned down, what would you say has always been your way out?
Okay. So so in all these moments that I had of excitement or of sorrow or pain or whatever, one thing that I always knew is one of my favorite scriptures is Jeremiah 1 verse 5. Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you, and I ordained you a prophet and all that. So at any point in time when my dreams seem to fail, I know that God has not failed me yet. So there's always a way out. I tried so much to build my dream on my own, but I realized I cannot do it on my own. I wanted to be a motivational speaker, a transformational speaker, but one thing I realized is the world talks about motivation but removes God out of the picture. But for me to really be able to have this book out after all these years, it's only God to manage to make things happen for me. So there's always a way out in Christ.
All right. We're going to go to a break. We're going to continue with our song, which is Daddy's Home. You know, his way out is always God, as you can hear. But we'll talk more about the book, and we just want to get some water.
Is that they had the King of Kings. And God stopped me in my tracks one day when I was praying, and he said, Travis, quit searching for what you already have. You have the Father of fathers. And I don't know who you are tonight, but you've been searching for your identity, and God said that you find it all in him. He said, listen, homie, I've never missed a ball game. He said, daughter, I was there at your graduation.
Isn't that perfect?
I feel a wind of restoration just blowing through, and God is giving you back your identity. What you've been searching for, what someone stole from you, God said, no, you belong to me, daughter. You belong to me, man of God. Come on. I am your identity. You can have my last name. Everything that you've been wanting, you can find in me. I am your Father. Lift your hands in this moment. You've been searching for your identity. Someone to give you hope and something you could believe. Search no longer. He's waiting for you. Search is over. All you have to do is
Welcome back to our viewers. Welcome back to our listeners on our radio Shalom FM. You're still with Queen T on our radio. And as we know, our slogan is there is always a way out. Before the break, Sir Brian was talking to us about wow and how it relates and how he has always found a way out in situations, in whether good or bad in life, and who he thanks the most whenever he goes through those situations. But now you sit down, you decide, I'm going to write this book. And you know, life happens.
Yes.
And you decide again, I'm going to write this book. Now, I want you to take us to that moment when you sat down and you said, you know what, I'm writing it. At what space were you in at that particular moment? And while you were writing, before you wrote it, and after seeing the final product of the book, do you think that it made the space that you were in at the time that you were writing the book, the space that you were in at that time when you were writing it, did it make justice of what you really wanted to take across? And also, if it has covered what you wanted, what do you think maybe you would have added, or maybe you have subtracted, while you just, when you read something, you read it the first time, you read it the second time, you're like, hey, so what space were you at? And then the space that you are in now.
So writing of the book, I decided to write about 10 years back. I was writing a blog. I had a blog page, and I was posting articles. And someone suggested that I should compile it into a book, but I didn't know where to start, how to go about it. But I wrote it down on a diary and said by age 30 I should have at least published my first book. So 11 days before my birthday, I could not sleep for some funny reasons, and I started going through my odd stuff, and I saw this and said, age 30, I said I should publish a book.
Wow.
And I looked at the things that I had written to say by age 30, I should have a car, I should be married, maybe one child and all that. And some of them I was like, okay, this one I can blame the economy, this one I can blame ex-girlfriends or whatever. And the book, there was no one to blame because I had a laptop in my room. I had everything that I wanted to put on paper. I'd written things in my book, in my diary. So I said, okay, immediately I started compiling it. And because I work every day, I had to wake up at 4 every day to write it. I had so much to write it, but I just said, okay, I'm obviously gonna write more. But since I only had 10 days to write something, to write a book, I needed to do something. So what I did is I decided to say, okay, for 10 days, I'm only going to write a 40-page book. 2 hours in the morning, I should type 2 pages. And when I come back from work, another 2 pages. So at least I get to 40. At least 40 is a book.
Wow.
At least
Yes.
if you say 40 pages, it's sort of a book. Not the big books, but at least it's a book. So that's what I did. And there's so much more that I'm yet to share, to tell about my life. But I think what I put in the book is sufficient to help someone who just needs help.
Okay. Now, let's say there's somebody listening to you, a young person that has that dream, that has that vision, that has that you know, that thing that
Passion
says,
and drive.
that passion, that drive,
Fire inside.
but they can't really pen it down as to what is it exactly that God is driving me at, you know, because sometimes we have ideas, but we need some push.
Okay.
So what would you motivate that person to start doing?
Okay.
To start doing in order for them to see their vision or to realize what they actually want to achieve in the future.
Okay. So after writing the book, one thing that I realized is I could have easily written a book 10 years before, or I could have read 10 pages. I don't know how many books I could have. The only thing that was limiting me was myself. Most of the times we are our own worst enemy. We criticize ourselves. You have an idea, but you are afraid because we have this ego that says, what if I fail? What will people say? And some of us are even afraid of succeeding because we don't understand. But listen, if you have something that you want,
Yes.
begin now.
Yes.
You see, even if you fail, you just get lessons that will help you do better things.
Our father normally says, whenever you wake up, it's your morning.
It's your own morning.
It's your morning.
And there's a song that I love. It says, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for a lightning bolt to strike you for you to begin moving? This thing about one thing that I realized about the pandemic is it showed us that life can change any moment. When you're planning to say, after 10 years, I have enough money to start something, life happens, and then your dream dies with you. So start now, work on it. You don't need any push. Just push yourself, get yourself going. And the moment you start working on whatever you want to work, God will always bring the right people to help you. They say that when the student is ready, the master appears.
Oh yes. And our God always appears.
Our God is
All you need to do is to do your own part, and He will do His own part. And we have seen that happening. Your book is selling. Your book is selling. So should we expect another offering from you anytime soon? Definitely. He said it. He said definitely, and I will follow him up because this show is not going anywhere. Now, where do we get your book?
Okay, so my book is currently, it's an ebook. It's on my website. Okay, I have an ebook and an audio version. I realized that we live in the 21st century. Not everyone has the time to actually read a physical book, but we all have our Androids, our iPhones, and all that. So I decided to start off with the ebook. so that you can just read it wherever you're going, in your taxi, read it wherever, just a few minutes. And I realized that also we're too busy. So I took the time to convert it to audio. I read it myself. So when you buy the audio book, you actually listen to me reading it as I wanted it to be heard.
Wow, wow. Just all that thought, you're gonna give us your social handles, where do we get the book, how much it is, and your all your other pages where people can actually find the other videos, because I've listened to a few of your videos and they are really information packed, and they, there are people out there that are so demotivated, especially after the pandemic, especially now. So right now we're gonna go to a break. When we come back, you're gonna give your social platforms where we get the book and how much is the book. And then I also have here some great news. Great news. Tea break.
But what they didn't recognize is that they had the king up king. And God stopped me in my tracks one day when I was praying, and he said, Travis, quit searching for what you already have. You have the Father of fathers. And I don't know who you are tonight, but you've been searching for your identity, and God said that you find it all in him. He said, listen, homie, I've never missed a ball game. He said, daughter, I was there at your graduation. I feel a wind of restoration just blowing through, and God is giving you back your identity. What you've been searching for, what someone stole from you, God said, no, you belong to me, daughter. You belong to me, man of God. Come on. I am your identity. You can have my last name. Everything that you've been wanting, you can find in me. I am your Father. Lift your hands in this moment. Searching for your identity.
Welcome back, listeners. Before the break, Sir Brian was going to tell us where we can get the book and how much is the book and the information that he wants you guys to get about the book.
Okay. So the book, if you go on your internet app, you go to www.lifeha.net. I'll spell it out for you: www.lifehuh.net. That's my website. The book on my website is going for 50 rands for the ebook and 100 rand for the audio copy. As soon as you buy it, it comes straight to your device. And we also have it on Amazon. The book is international. On Amazon, it's $8, but obviously Amazon will convert it to the currency in whatever country you're in. Yes.
All right. That was Sir Brian in our show on Shalom FM, which says, Let's Talk Books. Now I'm going to divert a bit. Just before we let him go, I want to speak about a launch of a book. You know that book, it's a great book. When I saw the cover, I have not touched the book yet, but I saw the cover of the book, and the title is 58 Reasons Why You Should Fast. Now, it's by our own Bishop, Dr. Joshua N. Simeon. More details about the launch will follow. You just need to follow us, listen to the radio, follow us on our Facebook pages. On his Facebook pages, he is Joshua N. Simeon, and we are Shalom FM on our Facebook page. Also on Twitter, we are at Shalom FM. So that book is going to be launched, and our bishop just cannot wait. We're going to have one of these interviews with him before the launch of the day. And then on the launch, it will be live. The launch itself will be live, but the date and all the other details will follow. Now, Sir Brian, coming back to you. You've written the book. You are touching lives, and you are a child of God. You know, what do you say to the young men and the young women, the youth, and those that seem lost? Because you said at the beginning that if you still have life, there's still hope. Now, in closing, what would you say to a person out there that says, yeah, I hear you, but where is this hope?
Okay. So my life really changed when I gave my life to God, and that was when I came to Commander of Faith and Ministries Worldwide, and I'd been through a lot, and I was at a point where I decided, okay, I've just had it. I'm not going to try. I'm just going to give up and leave anyhow. But I came to church, and I had our bishop ministering, and he touched my life with just what he had to say. And I decided immediately that I was going to give my life to God. And I said from then onwards, whatever I do, I will do it for God. So it became less about myself. I realized that when you're doing things only for yourself, you don't really succeed. But when you look at the bigger picture, you look at what God has in mind for you or for your family, for people around you, then you say, God, use me as a tool, as an instrument for your glory. Your dreams will come true. God is just looking for people who are willing and available. Bishop always says God does not call the qualified, but he qualifies those whom he has called. You know, so if you have that dream, you have that passion, you just need to say, okay, Lord, here I am. I surrender myself. I've tried and failed. Things have not worked for me, but I need you. Here I am. And then God will take it from there.
Oh yes, oh yes. You know, when you give your life to God, he takes care of everything. All you have to